Absolutely.
Not making any positive movement. Finally, there's some positive movement, albeit there may be small steps, but you're making those movements. And
Everything,
now we have dialogue.
absolutely. Everything I ran on when I ran for office, I have accomplished. When's the last time you've had anybody in public office that could say that? A year ago. Every single thing. And when I met with the NCAE in Pasquotank County, I told them, very honestly, that I'm trying to think, I'm just drawing a blank now, that you've been there for 5 years and you've got your tenure. I told them then, tenure's gone. Nothing I can do about it is gone. Senate, House, tenure is gone. I also told them that they would have a pay increase. And I also told them that my goal was to raise starting pay to about 35 or 30. And Darcy, I hope you remember this because I was there and I said it. And I said $35,000 or $36,000. I wanted to get it to 36 this time because I wanted it to be $3,000 a month, not just, why 30? If I go to 35, go to 36. Then I also told Dorsey and the members, a number of people who were here, I hope you all remember I made this statement, that I was in hopes that we could get teacher pay up to about $60,000 at 20 to 25 years service. That was the goal. That is still the goal. We have taken the first step, addressing the initial new teachers that are coming in, losing most teachers to whatever, whether they're going someplace else, moving to another school district, or just finding another occupation in the first 5 years. That had to be addressed first. So that's what we have done. The plan is just unfolding. I kept every single one of my promises, and I am going to keep that promise as well. We may have terse dialogue, and I don't try to be politically correct. I'm not politically correct. I hate it. I'm not a politician. It's on my mind. I'm more safe.
So no one's lost anything. It's just now.
They're gaining. They're going to gain. Yes.
And
They're going to gain big time.
We're hearing all
Yes.
these issues that are coming out, things I've never heard of. They're coming out. Now you have a vehicle to talk about.
Right. There was a, ma'am, thank you. Yes, you were next. Thank you for your question. Or your comments, I guess.
As I sat here and listened.
Could you tell us, just stand, tell us who you are first?
Okay, my name is Wanda Farah.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm a retired teacher.
Yes. God.
That served with 31 years of service to this county.
Well, you look awful young. You have 31 years in, I can tell you that. Holy cow.
But I try not to let the stress really get me. With the things that you have proposed, I just hope that you realize that teacher morale is really, really at the very lowest point at this time.
It should be.
If you think about...
It's been 10 years.
If you think about overcrowded classrooms, curriculum changes, no money for supplies, and I know that you're aware, you've read it as all of us have, about how much money teachers have pulled out of their pocket to try to make their lesson plans work.
Right.
And you've addressed, everything seems to be the pressure and blame on the teacher to make things happen at a point that whoever is evaluating what is progress or success. But I wanted to know in your conversations, have you all talked about the accountability of the parents?
Of course.
And what influence do you, in your
Of course.
opinion, can you give us some suggestions that you would have that you might bring to the table when you're having your committee meetings about education?
Absolutely.
But how can we actually, as a school system, have parents to be accountable for the success of their children?
Ma'am, I think you're at the root of it. I mean, I think you are at the root of the problem right there. The problem starts with the homes. We have 70 or 75% illegitimate births in the African American community. We have close to now 50% in the white community. We have fathers who are not home to be role models. We have broken homes. We've got some very, very significant societal problems that there is no question in my mind are contributing in probably the most major way to those things that we are struggling with in education. People are under the impression, I think, or have come under the impression, that school teachers can fix it all. We're going to ship our problems off to the school, we do whatever we do, and the teachers are going to fix it. You can't. You can't fix it. The only thing that we can do, and some of the things that we are talking about doing right now in the legislature, is to make, you can't legislate morality. I mean, that's just impossible. You can't do it. But let me share with you one of the things that we are talking about doing that I think will help. One of those things is that before anybody is going to be eligible for any kind of benefit from the state of North Carolina for a new child, a baby that's born, they are going to have to identify that father, whoever it is. If she doesn't know, and there might be 3 or 4, then we need to know who the 3 or 4 are. And we're going to find out just exactly who it is, and that support for that child, and we're going to follow that person wherever he goes. Or she, because it could be on the other side too. It could be a woman that takes off and leaves the husband with the kids. So, you know, there are legal issues that we have to consider before proceeding with that. But I think that you, of all the questions tonight, the one you ended with is probably the biggest question that we face. If I have the answer to that, or if we have the answer to that, I think a lot of our problems, societal problems, not just the problems we're having in education, but the societal problems we have would be cured. And it's not just a minority issue. It is a big time issue right across the board. And I'm concerned about it. I know all of you are concerned about it. We all should be concerned about it. It's talked about in the legislature almost every single day we are in session. Every committee meeting I go to, sooner or later the discussion is going to come to what are we going to do to try and get this situation turned around in these households. I don't have the answer. If you have the answer, I mean, or even a suggestion, I would love to hear it. I can just tell you that's one that we've been talking about.
But I just wanted you to take into consideration that teachers that's what they received.
I know.
What is present in society today. This young man over here said something about how kids have changed and everything has changed. But teachers are trying to keep up with the changes.
They are, yes.
But aside from that, I am interested in seeing something posted of your results of when you become a teacher for a day. I want to see how you make out, and maybe when you get up close and personal, you may have some suggestions and see things a little differently.
Well, it's amazing you should say that, because right here in part of my closing remarks was one of the things I'm going to do is I am working with each teacher, is that I am going to have a posting on my Facebook page of that event. If the teacher will allow me to use their name, I'll use the name. Otherwise, I'll just say I was in this school or that school or whatever. But yes, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that, and so the results will be, you'll hear about it. My observations. I hope I learn. I see you, Earl. I hope. I mean, I want to see the good, the bad, the ugly. I mean, I want to see it all. I don't want somebody to sugarcoat anything. I mean, I want to see all of it. And you're right. I can't see the planning that's going on the night before. But if I get there early enough, the teacher can certainly share with me what she has done to prepare for that day before we even get started. And so I'll have something. I can look at her classwork and her work, preparation. And I can pretty much tell, at that point, I can pretty much tell what, that obviously one of them is going to do. Great idea, great suggestions, I appreciate it, and I will do that. Yes, ma'am. The Earl of Roundtree.
I don't know where you were, Bob, back, and I don't know where I was when the charter schools got started. I did graduate from the 3rd grade, so I don't have a PhD in education. As soon as I got old enough to shoot a shotgun, I found out hunting was fishing was more fun than going to school. The charter schools and I've been around a long time, you can tell that. But my original thoughts of charter schools, and I'm not sure where you were, was the inner cities, and we're going back to Durham, and that was a perfect example. Charter schools were initially set up because we, and I'm from Gates County, Dare County, even Women's, Pasquotank, all of us, we had one or two high schools. And there wasn't a real need for charter schools. Inner cities, most of us that have natives here, I lived in Richmond, Virginia, years ago. You lived close to Richmond, but we know what inner city schools are. That's what charter schools, because you had students that didn't care to learn, they didn't want to learn, they were full of gangs. And so the idea came along to take these good students that had parents or the students that wanted to learn and put them in charter schools. Do you agree or disagree with that?
Are you trying to give me an educational history? Because I appreciate it, but I have studied my
I just wanted to know.
dissertation was on
I'm
alternative schools.
done, and I didn't ask all this to my other source, but I don't know, I'm asking you, I'm not trying to get you, I said I graduated in third grade,
Yeah, well,
and in that way charter schools got started.
so I'm sorry. Are you trying to
I'm not trying to
suggest?
do anything.
Okay, is your question whether or not charter schools were started as an alternative for children to go to school? Yes, they were.
In inner cities,
Yes, they were.
that's it.
Have they since
That's all we
become?
did, you had to get defensive with me, I just want to know if I was right.
Because I'm sitting here and you're asking me, and I don't know about your third grade education or your hunting or whatever it is that you do in your free time, sir. But to say, well, you don't have a degree and blah, 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 blah,
Well, let's
blah.
go, let me go on, we don't need to hear all this, because I got some things I want to say, and then I'm going home. I'm sorry that you were defensive, I didn't mean to upset you.
Because you just got in my.
Excuse me. Okay, let's stop this. Let's stop this line.
You all know, I've been involved in this education stuff for a long time. Tenure, vouchers, Bob had a meeting with superintendents, and he let me attend. I have never yet heard anyone, Bob, and I don't think you have, ever criticized the teachers. And I don't think y'all need to be defensive on that. I think what Bob has been trying to say is that we got a problem. And the problem is much bigger than the teachers. I feel sorry for the teachers. First of all, real quickly, my sister had 3 boys. The oldest boy's got a master's, works for the state of North Carolina. He makes a pretty decent living. Gets to travel a lot. The youngest boy graduated from Troy University. I don't know what he does, not much. But the middle boy didn't go to college. He's a diesel mechanic. He's 30 years old. I will guarantee you he makes $85,000 this year. So if you teachers think that you got an ally with me. If you think you got to go to school for 4 years and come out and take a job for $30,000, my heart bleeds for you. It's not a wise choice. And I want to close with saying this. 2 things. Number one, we had a recorder's court judge years ago. We had recorder's court judges in North Carolina named Vernon Beeman. Mr. Beeman taught me as a little boy, and I always remember it. And every day I think about this. He taught me there's 3 sides to every story. Your side, my side, and the right side. And we're doing a lot of discussion here tonight. It's not the teacher's fault. But I want to give something that was in the paper last week. And anybody in Pasquotank County can explain this to me, I want to see it. List the city Pasquotank to seek $3.4 million Fed Job Skills Grant. That's the headline. It's $3.4 million. 25% of that, this came right out of the paper. 25%, this comes from Pasquotank County matching funds. 4 teaching positions doesn't have anything to do with doing a bad job. I'm from a county that's got good test scores, we're lucky, but if anybody in here is a math teacher and wants to move to a beautiful county like Gates County, we can't get a math teacher in the high school because we can't pay them enough money. The rest of them have gone to Virginia. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Bob,
Thank you,
Bob.
thank you all.
This young lady here, beside gentleman, I'm sorry I didn't get your name. Right there. But
Raise your
is
hand.
that your husband there?
Yeah, there are a couple.
There are a couple, okay. You made a point a while ago and you asked Bob who advises them. Who's on the committee? Okay. And he gave a list of people with high credentials. But I didn't hear him say that any teachers from the trenches came in to advise y'all.
No, but they could. I mean, they're open meetings, so they.
He's a very prolific Facebooker. And anytime that y'all want to give him some suggestions, you'd accept them, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I was going to close this out. We got 10 minutes to go, and so we're going to close this out. I want to close it out in this fashion, unless there's any other pressing question that somebody has. And I think the way we're going to close this out may give you an opportunity to even ask the question anyway, as part of what I'm planning on doing. Yes, Owen, did you have something?
It's more of a comment.
Oh, okay.
I was on the Alabama Hospital Board of Trustees back from 1996 through 2003. And in the recruitment of new doctors, the first question that came up, and it was an obstacle also, was the quality of the school system. And they were looking for alternatives at that time. The doctors that were coming out of school with small children. And it was found out that quite a few of the veteran doctors were carpooling their children to Norfolk, to the private schools up there. So it's not a problem that's just started. It goes back to at least that early. And
What year was that?
I went on the board in '96. So it's an issue that's been there, and it reflects on the whole region. What we've got to do, as you said, is a major key of economic development. And we have to have economic development to diversify the tax base, because that's where the funding comes from. And until we can figure out a way to solve this problem, we're still going to be beating our heads up against the wall, because the dollars just are going to be in limited supply.
Very well stated. Thank you. Folks, the last thing we're going to do is I'm going to ask you
This
collectively.
gentleman here says he's up quite a while.
Who is it?
I have another question.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Excuse me. Yes. Could you please tell us who you are?
I'm Lynn McGill. I just want to make a comment of the panel.
Yes, sir.
I have been in our school system. I have sat in our classroom and I have listened to our teachers teach. We have some very good teachers.
Sure you do.
Some outstanding teachers in this county and other areas. The only time I am in the school system is that time when I volunteer as a football coach at the middle school. Through that, I can tell you how difficult it is to teach today's kids. I have to water down a football playbook. The attention problem is huge. These teachers are using everything they're trained to do, everything that they are educated to do, to reach to our kids. And I just want to give 3 points that I have observed as a parent.
Yes, sir.
One, our discipline level is bad. We have to improve discipline. Kids are not going to learn if they're jumping off the roof all the time. Luckily for me as a football coach, once things get too hard, I start yelling and screaming and kicking stuff and running till their tongue falls out. Then I got their attention and they can learn something. Teachers can't do that. Teachers can't do that. 2, it's legislation. If the legislation that you're trying to put on our public schools is so great, why is the same rules put on private schools, voucher schools, and any other schools? I can take the same teacher in public school, okay, put her in a voucher program or any private school program, and all of a sudden she's a teacher overnight by y'all standing.
She what now?
By y'all standing, she's an extra teacher overnight. She can do the miracle work, she can reach the poor kids and all those things. Y'all legislature sometimes is in the way of these teachers releasing their social problems and the things I feel like we should be talking about, not attacking our teachers. I mean, I love our teachers, like I said. Thank God I'm only in the school system 8 weeks, 9 weeks out of the school year. I give all the teachers a hug then, and they can go back and enjoy the kids. But I really just wanted to make those comments and point out.
Your points are well taken. I hope that we can get over this hurdle this evening. Nobody is attacking teachers, and I'm going to tell you this whether you believe it or not. Teachers couldn't have a better friend in Raleigh than I am. I've been looking out for you in every single way I can and trying to get the wages up and doing all I can to do it. It's not a popular thing. You're facing all sorts of Herculean odds. But I made that promise, and every campaign promise I have made, I have kept. I am going to keep that promise as well. And you all deserve our support. You work very hard. My whole family is laced with teachers. I've got teachers on every level. My best friends are teachers. Most of them are retired now. So I understand the plight of the teacher. I've been in the public schools 25 years, volunteering, as I mentioned earlier at the top of my remarks. I see it. I understand what you're going through, the homes, I mean, what you mentioned, ma'am, back there, that particular problem. Poverty, which you're mentioning, sir, another huge problem. And that is why it is very, very important for us to turn this economy around, which is what we are doing. If you looked in the daily events last week, and you looked at the unemployment numbers that were here in this area 1 year ago, in January of 2013, and you look at the unemployment numbers now, they went from 9.4 down to 6.9. Does that mean everybody's working? No. But it means a whole lot more people were working than were working before. Why are you shaking your head? Is that a bad thing, unemployment?
Because the numbers are tangled. You kick off people receiving unemployment.
That
Sir, dropped the numbers by 2%. Another reason is that people have left the area because the unemployment and poverty numbers are so high in the region.
Sir,
Elizabeth City alone has received a 2% drop in the population.
and why do you think that is, sir?
We're too poor, people tired, they got other things to do with their lives. It's time
And
for
we're
them
trying to
make
fix
some
that,
money.
sir. That's what we're trying to do. We've cut your taxes. You're paying less in state taxes now than you've ever paid.
Okay.
All right?
Y'all trying to making us awfully poor. That's
Yeah.
all I got to say.
I've only been there a year. I haven't done anything to make you poor. I've been there a year.
But
The
remember,
folks who
it is
came
y'all
before
trying.
me made you poor,
It is y'all
not me.
trying and it's making us awfully poor.
Well, we're going to fix it.
All right.
Yes, sir.
George, hey, I have a question.
Yes, George.
Nobody said anything, well, very few people said anything about public charter schools. We just had a STEM public charter school that was pushed forward by our mayor and chairman of the board of commissioners. And public charter schools have to accept anybody that puts in for that school. Now, if you only allow 70 students into the school and 100 put in for it, a lottery system comes into play and names are drawn out of the hat. That's my understanding from the charter school's website. Is that true?
I think when you get to the point of a STEM school, I think they can establish certain criteria, academic criteria primarily. There's testing that is done to see if, even if their academics may not be at a highly proficient level, I think the ability to learn in math and science in particular is what is being looked at. So I wouldn't say that there was, I would have to disagree with that. I don't think they can just, well, they can, but I think that there's some, they have some latitude there and I'm not sure about this particular charter school that's being contemplated here in Elizabeth City, which I think is a good thing, and I support 100%. And that would help our economy, help bring people here. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to create jobs. That's the end game. Now, you may recall, those of you in Pasquotank County, and I think I want to remind you of this. This isn't beating on anybody. Once again, this is a fact. I know facts are tough and they don't make us feel good all the time, but facts are facts. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Nobody's entitled to their own facts. Several years ago, the Pasquotank County Board of Commissioners put an initiative on their ballot to have a very slight increase in the property or in the taxes here
Sales
in
tax.
Pasquotank, I think it was
Sales tax,
sales tax, 1/2 of,
1/2 of 1%.
Half of that,
Was, but that,
quarter
wa-
percent.
and I think that was just going to school construction, wasn't it?
No, it's the
Overall for schools.
and COA. And we're gonna go try and move that forward again this year, with the county commissioners, and we're gonna drop COA off and just use it for the public schools.
Okay.
Capital outlay mainly, we got like $1.3 million for the buck.
And my point is this, and that's good, and I hope we do, and I hope it passes. But my point is this, when they ran that piece of, when they put that referendum on the ballot, it was defeated resoundingly. It wasn't even close. Now, these are the people who live in Pasquotank County. And they know what the situation is for the schools. They know the schools need help. And yet that referendum was on there for a nothing tax. I mean, that's just an absolute nothing tax. And it didn't get defeated. It got trounced. So that begs the question. Do the people in Pasquotank County who live here, do they think the schools need more money? Obviously, by the result of that vote, the answer is no. They think the schools have got plenty of money. So I just want to put this all in perspective. The local communities have to get behind their school districts as well. This is very, very important. Money comes from three sources. It comes from the federal government, it comes from the state government, and it comes from your local government. And the smallest portion is from the local government. And in some cases, it's very small. If there were to be, and I say this with all due respect because I'm not talking about your Board of Education, I'm talking about all boards of education everywhere. If there is a problem, a real problem that we have in education today, it's with the boards of education, not with the teachers. It's with the boards. The boards are making those decisions as to how the money is going to be spent. The boards are deciding who's hired and who's fired. The boards are deciding whether this superintendent should stay or go. It is, when I used to serve as a chairman of a political party, we used to always, every couple of years, we'd say, we've got to find a candidate to run for the U.S. House. We've got to find a candidate to run for the State House, for the State Senate, for commissioners. And then at the end, we would say, we're going to find somebody for that. Anybody else run for school board? Anybody? Not what kind of qualifications do they have. That didn't matter. The most important people we elect in the United States today are the people that serve on the school boards of America. Those are the most important people that are elected, and we give them lip service. And these boards have tremendous power, and they're not always exercising the power in the best interest of the teacher. And sir, I'm not speaking of you, anybody in particular, no. So please don't take it personally. But I have come to realize, in looking at all of the problems facing us, and I'm all for, if I had my druthers, I'd throw everything back to the locales. Let the local government take care of all the education needs. They know what's best for their kids. Yes, Ms. Corbin?
I just wanted to follow up on something because I made one point, I wanted to follow up on a